You see this? Gengar using Shadow Ball. In every modern Pokemon game, this is one of the most devastating combos in the entire franchise. 130 special attack, ghost type stab, and massive damage. In FireRed and LeafGreen, this does nothing, and I mean almost nothing. Shadow Ball runs off of Gengar's attack stat, which is 65, not 130. I'm talking 65. If you're about to play Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen on the Switch and you don't understand why that happens, this game is gonna eat you alive. These are not modern Pokemon games. The rules are completely different. The quality of life features that you're used to don't exist, and there are traps everywhere that will waste your time, ruin your team, and cost you hours of progress. I'm gonna save you from all of that, so let's get into it. FireRed and LeafGreen are coming out this week, and this is the video I wish existed when I dove in. Whether you're a returning veteran who hasn't touched Gen 3 in 20 years, or a brand new player whose first game was Scarlet and Violet, buckle up. Everything you think you know about Pokemon is about to get flipped upside down. This is the single most important thing in the entire video. If you learn nothing else, learn this. In every Pokemon game from Diamond and Pearl onward, so Gen 4, each individual move is classified as either physical or special. Flamethrower is special, Fire Punch is physical. It makes sense, right? FireRed and LeafGreen do not work this way. In these games, physical or special is determined by the move's type, not the move itself, the type. Every single move of a given type is locked to one category. Here's the full breakdown. Burn this into your brain. Physical types are normal, fighting, poison, ground, flying, bug, rock, ghost, and steel. Your special types are fire, water, electric, grass, ice, psychic, dragon, and dark. Every fire move is special, every ghost move is physical. There's no exceptions. This completely changes which Pokemon are good and which ones are traps. Let me give you the biggest examples. Gengar, 130 special attack, but Ghost is a physical type, so its own Ghost type stab moves like Shadow Ball run off of its terrible 65 attack stat. Gengar can still use Thunderbolt and Psychic as a special attacker, but its signature Ghost damage is pathetic. Gyarados, 125 attack, but Water is a special type, so Surf runs off of its awful 60 special attack, not the massive 125 stat. Your water type's water moves are literally its worst moves. Instead, you want Gyarados using things like Return, Earthquake, and especially Dragon Dance to boost that huge physical attack stat. Flareon is the poster child for this problem. 130 attack stat. It looks like it's gonna be a monster, but Fire is special attack only, and Flareon has 95 special attack. Its best stat is essentially useless for its own stab moves. Flareon was genuinely one of the worst Pokemon in the game because of this. But on the flip side, Pokemon like Dodrio becomes secretly amazing. Drillpeck is flying type. That's physical, and Dodrio has 110 attack. It hits like a truck with its flying moves that you never expected to. Before you build your team, before you assign a single move, check whether that move's type matches the stat you want to use. This will make or break your entire run. In Scarlet and Violet, TMs are basically infinite. You craft them or you reuse them, there's no big deal. In FireRed and LeafGreen, TMs are gone after one use. Use that Earthquake TM, it's gone, forever. There's only one in the entire game. Same with Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Psychic. One copy each, and once you teach it to a Pokemon, you can't get it back. This means TM allocation is one of the most important strategy decisions in the entire game. You need to think carefully about which Pokemon gets your best TMs, because there are no do-overs. Quick tip, do not use your best TMs early. Wait until you have your final team locked in before committing Earthquake or Ice Beam to anyone. And remember that physical and special split we just talked about? Make sure you're giving physical TMs to physical attackers and special TMs to special attackers. Giving Earthquake to a Pokemon with a low attack is a permanent waste. The only reusable moves are HMs, but those come with their own problems, which we'll get to. If you played any Pokemon game in the last decade, you're used to the experience share giving experience to your entire party automatically. It's been that way since X and Y. In FireRed and LeafGreen, the experience share is a held item. One Pokemon holds it. That one Pokemon gets a split of the experience from battle. That's it. Everyone else on your team gets nothing unless they actually participated in the fight. This means leveling up your team takes significantly more time. You'll need to grind, there's no way around it, and you can't just carry one strong Pokemon and have everyone else passively level up. And here's the kicker. You also get 0 experience for catching Pokemon. In modern games, catching gives you XP. Here, nothing. Catching is purely for collection, not for training. Plan your team early and commit to it, because spreading your time across too many Pokemon will leave you underleveled for the later gyms and the Elite Four. HMs are hidden machines, and they're moves you must teach to your Pokemon to progress through the game. Cut to chop down trees, surf to cross water, strength to push boulders, fly to fast travel, flash to light up caves, rock smash to break rocks, and waterfall to climb waterfalls. But here's the problem. HMs cannot be deleted until you reach the move deleter in Fuchsia City. That's the 5th gym. If you teach Cut to your Charizard at the start of the game, you're stuck with Cut on your Charizard for a long time. And Cut is a pretty terrible move, 50 base power normal type. That's a wasted move slot on your best Pokemon. The veteran strategy is to use what's called an HM Slave, a Pokemon whose entire purpose is carrying HM moves so that your main team doesn't have to. Pokemon like Farfetch'd or Linoone that can learn multiple HMs are great for this. Just keep them in your party for traversal and swap them out for battles. Nidoking is a really good one to consider if you're looking for an HM Slave that can actually deal some decent damage. And about Flash specifically, Rock Tunnel is almost completely dark without it. You can technically stumble through blind, but it's pretty miserable. The problem is Flash is one of the worst moves in the game. 70% accuracy only lowers the opponent's accuracy. Teach it to your HM Slave and never think about it again. This is a quick but an important one, but Fairy type does not exist in these games. It wasn't introduced until Gen 6 in 2013. What does that mean? Well, Dragon types are significantly more dangerous. In modern games, Fairy is immune to Dragon moves, and in FireRed LeafGreen, Dragon is only resisted by Steel. That's it. Lance's Dragonite in the Elite Four is basically a nightmare because of this. Also, Pokemon you think of as Fairy types like Clefable, Jigglypuff, Wigglytuff, Mr. Mime, Togetic, they're all normal or Psychic types. No Fairy Stab, no Fairy Resistances, Clefable is pure normal type. Keep that in mind when you're planning your team for the Elite Four. Now this one's gonna frustrate people, so listen closely. There is a national dex lock on certain evolutions. Any Pokemon that evolve into a form introduced after Gen 1, so any Johto, Hoenn, or later evolution, cannot evolve until you beat the Elite Four. Visit the Sevi Islands and have caught at least 60 Pokemon to receive the national dex from Professor Oak. This means that your Golbat won't evolve into Crobat no matter how high the friendship is. Your Chansey won't become Blissey, your Scyther won't evolve into Scizor, even if you trade it with a metal coat. Your Eevee cannot become Espeon or Umbreon, and those two are actually completely unobtainable because FireRed LeafGreen has no day-night cycle at all. So those evolutions require that. Until you get the national dex, the game essentially pretends Gen 2 and onward don't exist from an evolution standpoint. Plan your team around Gen 1 final forms for the main story. And speaking of trade evolutions, the Switch re-release supports local wireless only. No online trading, so if you want Alakazam, Gengar, Machamp, or Golem, you need a friend with a physical Switch nearby. For many players, these Pokemon are simply unobtainable, which is a real bummer. Keep that in mind when team building. Kadabra without evolving is still pretty good, but it's not an Alakazam. Let's rapid fire through some of the quality of life features that do not exist in these games. Strap in. There's no autosave, and this is a big deal. These games are not on the Nintendo Switch Online app. They're standalone purchases, which means no save states, no rewind feature, and the frequently asked questions confirm save data cloud backup is not available. If your Switch dies or game crashes without you manually saving, that progress is gone, so save early and save often. There's no objective marker or map tracker. The game does not tell you where to go next. If you put it down for a week and come back, you might genuinely have no idea what you were doing. There's no minimap, no quest log, no waypoint. There's no PC access from anywhere. If you want to swap your Pokemon on your team, you need to physically walk to the Pokemon Center and use the PC. No field access like in Scarlet and Violet. You can't use your running shoes indoor. You can only run outside. Inside buildings and caves, you walk at a normal speed. It feels painfully slow by modern standards, especially in longer dungeons. There's no EV display or reset. EVs exist in this game, but you can't see them anywhere. There's no EV reducing berries either. If you accidentally EV train wrong, there's literally no way to fix it without starting a new Pokemon, but I wouldn't stress too much about that. The bag is organized into specific pockets, key items, Pokeballs, TMs, berries, and general items, but it's not infinite, and items don't sort automatically. None of these are deal breakers, but if you're coming from modern Pokemon, the adjustment period is real. Just know what you're walking into. Here's one that catches even returning players off guard. You cannot breed Pokemon until you beat the Elite Four. The daycare on Route 5 near Cerulean City only accepts one Pokemon at a time. It's just for leveling, not breeding. The actual 2 Pokemon daycare that allows for breeding is on 4 Island in the Sevi Islands, which is post-game content. So no early game egg moves, no breeding for better natures before your run, no hatching starters for your friends. All of that is locked behind beating the game first. Okay, this is my personal favorite hidden detail in the entire game and something most players never discover. After you beat the Elite Four for the first time and obtain the National Dex, the Elite Four's teams completely change. Every single member gets a new, stronger Pokemon pulled from Gen 2 at significantly higher levels. Lorelei adds Pokemon like Jinx and Piloswine, Bruno gets Steelix and Machamp, and they get even scarier. Agatha's team shifts, and Lance goes from dangerous to absolutely terrifying. If you go back for a rematch thinking you'll be the same fight, you're gonna get humbled. Do not walk into the upgrade of the Elite Four without being prepared. This is some of the hardest content in the game, and it catches people completely off guard. And this is the last one, and it might be the biggest thing for new players. After you beat the Elite Four, the game is definitely not over. Not even close. The Sevi Islands are 7 additional islands of post-game content exclusive to FireRed and LeafGreen. They are not in the original Red and Blue. They contain an entire additional Team Rocket storyline, access to every Gen 2 Pokemon in the wild, unique areas like Pattern Bush, which is literally shaped like a Game Boy Advance circuit board, and they're required to complete if you want to unlock additional trading capabilities with Ruby and Sapphire, but that's not needed right now. You also get the upgraded Elite Four, Breeding, and the Roaming Legendary Beast. Speaking of which, did you know that the beast that you get is determined by your starter? So if you pick Bulbasaur, you'll get Entei, Squirtle gives you Raikou, and Charmander gives you Suicune. But be very careful. If you ever use Roar on it or it uses Roar on you, in certain circumstances, that beast can permanently disappear from your game, so make sure you save before every encounter. The Sevi Islands are easily 15 to 20 additional hours of content that a huge chunk of players don't even know exists. Don't put the game down after the credits roll. FireRed and LeafGreen are genuinely some of the best Pokemon games ever made, but they play by different rules than what you might be used to. Now you know these rules, you're gonna have a much better time. If this video helped you out, make sure you guys hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new so you don't miss out on our epic Pokemon content.